Caitlin Clark and Fever miss out on huge privilege as Cathy Engelbart reveals WNBA playoffs format change. A big change going into the next year. As the excitement builds for the WNBA Finals showdown between the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx, there's already buzz about what next year's championship could look like. Changes are on the horizon that could shift the format we've come to know, and will prove bad luck for teams like Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever, who missed out on getting the benefits of the changes that will come ahead. Recently, an ESPN journalist took to X and revealed WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbart's vision for the season next year. The tweet read, "Big news from WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbart on playoffs for next season. This is important for league's growth best-of-7 format for the WNBA Finals, replacing the best-of-5. Also switched to 1-1-1 setup for first round, so all teams have at least one home playoff game. As so far, the WNBA Finals have followed a 5-game series format, with playoff schedules often favoring the top-seeded teams. Take the Indiana Fever, for example. As a lower-ranked team compared to the Connecticut Sun, they didn't have the chance to play any of the first 2 games at home during their best-of-3 series in the opening round. However, next year could look very different. The proposed changes suggest that every team might get the opportunity to host at least one home game in the playoff. This change appears to stem from a careful analysis of the current playoff structure, weighing its pros and cons for the teams involved. It reflects a desire to enhance the competitive experience and ensure a more balanced opportunity for all teams. A new playoff era, transforming the WNBA championship landscape. As the number of teams in the league has grown, so too has the number of regular season games. Now a fresh playoff format will shake things up even further. Under the new rules, the first round will feature a best-of-3 series where the higher-seeded team hosts Game 1, followed by the lower-seeded team taking charge of Game 2. If needed, Game 3 will return to the higher-seeded team's home court. Interestingly, this year's playoffs didn't see any need for Game 3, as all first-round matchups concluded with 2-game sweep, while the semifinals will remain unchanged with their traditional best-of-5 format, which follows a 2-2-1 structure. Exciting modifications are on the way for the WNBA Finals. The championship series will now shift to a best-of-7 format, employing a 2-2-1-1-1 setup. The playoff format changes bring obvious upsides. Historically, lower-seeded teams were not guaranteed a home game, yet they could close out a series at home, which seemed unfair since higher-seeded teams, with better records, should have that advantage. This imbalance is addressed by the new playoff format, which ensures that every team gets a fair shot. The shift to a best-of-7 series for the WNBA Finals is a significant improvement, providing the league's top 2 teams with more opportunities to compete for the championship. This change marks a milestone, as it's the first time any playoff round in the WNBA will follow a best-of-7 format, aligning with the standard used in the NBA. Fans are saying the same thing about Caitlin Clark after major WNBA announcement. Caitlin Clark's arrival continues to change the WNBA. That's what many fans believe as the league not only keeps on growing, but also transforming. On Thursday, the WNBA announced that it is making tweaks to its playoff format starting in 2025, with the first round becoming a 1-1-1 series home-away-home to give the lower-seeded team a home game. In years past, the format was 2-1, where the higher-seeded team plays at home in the first 2 games of the best-of-3 series. As for the WNBA Finals, it will become a best-of-7 series instead of the current best-of-5 format. After the announcement, fans were quick to relate it to Clark. Some said that the WNBA did it after the 2024 Rookie of the Year, and her Indiana Fever were eliminated in the first round of the playoffs in 2 games without being able to play at home because of the current format. Others pointed out that the WNBA made the change since the interest in the league is at an all-time high due to Clark. For what it's worth, the league also increased the number of regular season games to 44 per team after having 40 in 2024. The Caitlin Clark effect. "We want more women's basketball because of her," a fan commented. Another one said, "The Caitlin Clark money starting to come in. Look at CC Man, so inspirational and transcendent." A social media user added Caitlin Clark up there with Michael Jordan. A supporter added, "They missed a lot of money on Fever's home playoff game." Caitlin Clark effect. Another follower chimed in, "While not all comments about Clark are positive, one thing is clear based on the comments of the fans and critics alike. The Fever superstar has been a huge catalyst in helping the league put out a better product on the court. Indianapolis. Caitlin Clark is looking forward to taking a break from the spotlight for a couple months. The Indiana Fever star has been in the public eye for nearly a full year, going from her senior season at Iowa to her rookie year in Indiana in a matter of months. She hasn't had a break from high-level basketball or from people analyzing her every move for 11 months. She's taken photos with fans at the grocery store, been spotted on vacation in Mexico, gotten pictures taken of her in the airport, and has fans waiting to see her car drive out of Gainbridge Fieldhouse following games. On top of that, she talked to the media at every chance possible, sometimes multiple times a day. Caitlin Clark ready for break. Like everybody's watching your every move. It can be an exhausting life always having to be on. She's always getting asked to take pictures or sign autographs, even if it's after a tough loss or times where she's not feeling well. It's hard to balance that too, because that one picture could make a little kid's year. It's hard. But it's also something the Fever star is grateful for. I try to give people time if I have it, and it can be hard because there are moments where you don't always want to pose for a picture, Clark said. You just want to go and get your sandwich and eat your lunch. But I feel very thankful. I wouldn't change anything for the world. I feel very thankful for the relationships I've built, the opportunities that I've had, the way people have supported me, and whether it was at Iowa or whether it's now in the WNBA.